Hogwarts Legacy. It's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's all the things that shut the whole entertainment industry down, and there's nothing to talk about. So let's just talk about some irrelevant drama that I've been seeing more and more of lately, and throw my opinion into the mix of things. So, I'm not a pothead, potterhead, whatever you guys call yourselves, but we need to have a conversation about Hogwarts Legacy. I have no preference towards the Harry Potter franchise. Actually, at one point I actively disliked Harry Potter because I was just sick of fucking hearing about it. I've seen maybe 2 of the films, I haven't read the books, I fell asleep during Fantastic Beasts. It's just not really one of those things I care about. I did love the Harry Potter game on PS1 just from a gameplay standpoint, and if you started watching this channel when I was first talking about Bully, it probably makes sense why I gravitate to those sort of games. So increasingly, anytime I see this game Hogwarts Legacy pop up, I see it being combined with JK Rowling's transphobic comments. And I just don't really think that's a fair judgment to make. I'm not going to talk about exactly what JK Rowling has said, because I don't think there's an intelligent conversation to be had there, and I don't want to propagate any more hate. The news media is just as much at fault as JK Rowling is. They're covering what she's saying for their own personal gain. They are actively promoting what she is saying, because they have every incentive to. People don't see a fucking article and click on it because they see a friendly discussion. People like to be outraged. People love to be offended because it gives them a reason to talk and argue with each other. That's why bad news dominates the headlines, because it's what gets the clicks and in turn gets ad revenue. If you want to be mad at JK Rowling for promoting hate, get mad at the journalists because they are just as much at fault, only they're profiting off of it. And my concern with the game is, Hogwarts Legacy is going to release this February, and receive unfair, biased reviews from news outlets that either will not be able to separate the product from its source author, or let the public pressure them into giving the game a low score based on politics that have nothing to do with it. This is a title that has been worked on by hundreds of employees, contractors, and QA for many years, something they have clearly poured a lot of heart into. And if you're working on something for that long, it eventually becomes a big part of your life. And you can imagine for the developers working on it, there's clearly a lot of nerves around the release. And the likelihood that it comes out to negative reception based on something out of their control is very likely. What I'm hoping to achieve here is not upset anyone from either side of the argument, but to help guide some of you into a more neutral standpoint so the game can release and is given a fair chance at an appropriate criticism and not based on any external politics. Let's start with, what involvement does JK Rowling actually have with Hogwarts Legacy? JK Rowling is the creator of the Wizarding World, which is, I guess, the source material that Hogwarts Legacy is based. This is not a new story from JK Rowling. It's not another Harry Potter, it's not a Fantastic Beast, it's a fucking video game, and the story and game design are being entirely created by Avalanche Software and Warner Bros. You can assume that JK Rowling will receive some sort of royalties from the game, but details on this are unclear. If you're not comfortable with that, you yourself have the decision to not support that. But I've seen a lot of comments coming out and calling others who are excited for this game transphobic for wanting to support this title. This is fucking absurd to me, and I know I'm about to draw for some fairly incompatible examples that will likely offend some people, and that's fine. Django Unchained, one of my favorite films of all time. It's a fantastic piece of cinema that touches on some very sensitive political topics and has been met with some widespread criticism for its frequent use of derogatory and racist language. But that's not the reason why I'm calling this film controversial though. The film is controversial because it was produced by one of the most famous rapists, Harvey Weinstein. And while the argument can be made that at the time there wasn't any active attention on Harvey Weinstein or his sexual assault that was rampant in Hollywood, it wasn't really public knowledge until 2016's Me Too movement. But it doesn't really color those films in a negative light for most people. Generally, people can go back and watch films produced by the Weinstein Company and not associate him with the films, and mentally you're able to separate the art from the rapist. Same with The Cat in the Hat. One of the most recognizable children's books, films, wherever you've seen it, you've probably seen it, and likely you have a relatively good opinion of the property, right? Dr. Seuss, creator of Cat in the Hat, The Grinch, Sam I Am, etc. He's a beloved icon whose content to this day is still enjoyed by children all over the world. Well, he's a massive racist. This sort of problem is everywhere. From racist Disney cartoons to the long list of companies that actively supported genocide of millions in the Holocaust. But we willfully ignore these and selectively choose what to be offended over, because we either don't deem it an active threat, or it's not currently trending to be upset over that specific thing. But I would say you can probably assume that most things that you enjoy in life right now are developed, produced, and delivered by some of the most truly horrifying individuals. The difference is, the media don't have incentive to publicly bring them into light due to the company that they represent's personal affiliations, or it's just not a trendy subject that will get them much traction and in turn, money. So we can choose to be upset by everything around us, or we can try and enjoy it for what it is. And I simply don't agree with the points raised by the community around this game. So let's try and separate the art from the artist, and look at what this game actually is. Hogwarts Legacy is a single-player, third-person action RPG that releases on current-gen platforms this February 10th. From everything we've seen, this game looks fantastic. The mounts, from Broomflight to Griffins, everything looks so fluid. The environments are beautiful and massive. The world seems to feel truly alive and dynamic. You'll be able to attend classes, take part in many side activities. This game is so feature-dense and it seems like it has a great combat system. You'll even be able to create your own character. And you'll be able to create a trans character if you wish. There are no limitations when it comes to the customization of your character. Nothing adheres to specific genders, and is one of the most progressive character creators that we've seen in a game like this. One of the features that I found personally pretty fucking cool is that you can be sorted into one of the 4 houses, and I don't even give a shit about Harry Potter. I just think that that's awesome. That you can play through as Slytherin or Gryffindor or the others. I'm not trying to sell you guys on this game. I'm just really excited to play it based on what I've seen, based on what it is, and the developer that's making it has a great track record. And I know I'm going to have a great time with this. But if you feel that feeding the pockets of JK Rowling is too much for you, then you can boycott this game. But please don't try to influence or pressure others into adhering to your beliefs because something offends you. If JK Rowling's comments upset you, block her, mute her. If you're a journalist and you believe that you have integrity, look at yourself, look at what you're doing, and think if you should really be covering the tweets of a transphobe. There are always going to be people that have offensive opinions. There are always going to be people that will voice those opinions. If you ignore a barking dog, it will eventually stop barking. Buy this game or not, JK Rowling will always be more disgustingly rich than most of us can ever fathom. And this game is just another splash in the bucket for her. If this has upset anyone, please be sure to let me know in the comments and I'll listen to your points, but ultimately this is my stance. And I'm gonna be playing this game when it releases, and I'll be enjoying it for what it is, a video game. Thanks for watching guys, I'm sorry for this long one-sided debate / rant. I appreciate everyone that keeps returning, and I'll see you next time, hopefully. Bye.